You have to try Excel's new edit mode for AI. It is amazing. Now you don't even have to touch the worksheet in order to update it, fix it, and change it. Here, I'm going to show you how to use this new feature with 5 practical formula examples for everything from speeding things up to understanding how they work to simply making better formulas in Excel. And we're going to do it all with natural language input in the AI, not touching or updating the spreadsheet itself. It's a really cool thing we're going to do, and I think you're going to love it. Come on, let's check it out. Here we've got a file with our 5 examples: speed, fix, explain, complex, and simplify. And these practical examples should work well for pretty much everyone. And you can download this file for free from teachexcel.com. That way you can follow along with the tutorial. I'll put a link to it below this video, and if you're on TikTok, comment Excel tips, and I'll send you the link to the file. Now, the best part about this tutorial is that we are going to use the new Copilot AI in order to do everything for us. So if you don't have the new version of the AI, simply go to File, then Account, and you can update your Excel version from there. Once you've done that, you may need to go to the Home tab to see a Copilot icon there, or down here to the right, and we can double-click that guy and go from here. The new feature that we're going to be working with is the Allow Editing feature. When we click the drop-down, we've got Editing, Plan, and Chat Only. I've covered Plan previously. It's really great. You can have a conversation with it and figure out exactly what should be done before you do it. But for everything that we're going to be doing here, we can simply work with editing. And if we make a mistake, we can undo it. Now, for the very first example, we have some formulas here that are rather slow, and it's time to speed them up. So let's take a look at the slow formula. It is a sum product. I reckon that has caused more headaches than VLOOKUP. And what we've done is sum product in every single cell for the entire table. It is basically the least efficient way to sum up the regions. What I've got over here is the faster version of it with the SUMIFS. But what we want to do is to have AI automatically fix this column for us. So let us go here and simply type speed up the formulas in column E. Go. It has made some updates, and we've got a little sort of rainbow highlight around what it has updated and changed, and an explanation over here. It has updated 200 formulas in column E. It went from sum product to sum if. And it even has a nice little explanation for why it's faster. Go through that as much as you would like, and let's take a look over here. Check everything you need to check, and then undo or done. We are good, so done. And it gave us sum if instead of the newer SUMIFS, but that should be fine. In such a small data set, we aren't even going to notice it, but you could work more over here and switch it to plan mode and say, I'd like you to use this specific function or this specific formula and do X, Y, and Z. But you can see with a very vague prompt, make it faster in column E, it has already done a lot. So let's move on to the second example, fix. If you enjoy this content, please think about signing up for our email newsletter. It is now the only reliable way to get notifications when we release new content. That's because the social media companies are not really sending out notifications to our subscribers when we release new content. And this is happening on all of our platforms. So if you like the content, then definitely sign up for the email newsletter. It is completely free and you can unsubscribe at any time. I'll put a link to it right here. tips.teachexcel.com. Right here, we've got a little issue, but we don't know what the issue is. Maybe somebody else gave us the spreadsheet. We are stressed out. It is late. All I know is that Crown LLC should not be blank for the amount. It should be 9,000. Well, let's switch up the customer. Delta. Everything is blank. My gosh, what did middle manager Timmy do? I don't know. Looks good to me. Let's go over here, start a new chat, click the green button. Now we could just say, fix this or troubleshoot this, but I'm going to be a little bit more specific here so that it will increase the chance that it gives us a correct result. Because remember, we are dealing with AI. It is not a super intelligence. It just guesses what the next part of the next word should be in its result based on the previous parts of the previous words. Maybe too much information, but let's get to the prompt. The selected cell is blank, but it should show the amount. And I capitalized amount there. I could even put quotation marks around it because it is the title of this column over here. So the amount of value for the selected, and do the same thing with customer. How about some quotes as well? Fix it. Okay. All right, what have you done, AI? I see a bunch of pound signs over here, or hashtags. Let's make you bigger. 5,000, Everest, 5,000. All right, not bad. Let's check out Crown 9. Perfect. You have done a pretty darn good job. So now let's take a look at what you are saying over here. You fixed it by adding this formula. Then it tells me what it has done and how it works. Now, I may or may not want this because what it did is it removed the if error from the outside of it. But it did fix the one problem, which was that this right here, the column index number was actually 5, but there are only 4 columns over here. So even though it only had to switch 5 to 4, and it could have been done, what it basically did is just take everything out of here, figure out what it was supposed to do, and start fresh. If you wanted to keep something in the formula or function, instead of starting fresh and sort of creating its own idea of what should happen, then you need to include that in the prompt. So that is one thing that you really need to be careful of. We can click away and hit Control Z and do it a few more times. Then we can get back to the original value. But even though it did change it up, it still made it work, and that's all that we wanted it to do. So success. Control Y will bring us back the new one. Remember, always back up your data. But now let's go to the next example. This one I really like. We are going to explain this formula. Now, this isn't a difficult formula to understand. It's only got a few different functions and they are quite logical. Get the joke? And or if. Anyway, but what I'd like to do is to have a comment made for me. So I want the AI to read this, figure out what's going on, and put it in a comment up here so that everybody can very quickly understand how the values are determined for this column. Start a new chat. Add a comment to the adjusted amount title that explains how the formula in that column works. We've got a summary of what it did, but let us check out our comment. We have our conditions broken down into individual parts now, and everything is explained. Of course, you can tell it how you want it to explain it, how you would like to separate individual pieces of the formula. You can craft specialized prompts that you really like that work well for your workflow, spreadsheet, worksheet, whatever you are doing, and then it will output the comment in that format. Here it guessed how I wanted it to do it because I gave it a rather vague prompt. However, it still worked pretty darn well, and now I've got this comment up here that everybody can see. Let's hit done to accept. And now let's go to the complex formula example. We've got some data over here, and I would like the AI to make me a formula to analyze it. I would like to go for East Complete 2026. Those are the three conditions: region, order date, and status. Let's select the cell where we'd like the result, the formula, to be, a new chat, and tell it to create a formula. A formula that returns the total amount for East region orders that are complete and have an order date in 2026. Now I'm talking to it just like I would talk to a person. But if you've watched any of my other AI videos, you know that you can make this prompt really complex, really structured, and oftentimes that will help. However, in this sort of self-contained environment where it has a lot of context, it should work pretty darn well as it is. Now let's tell where to put it. Put it into the selected cell. Or run it. Our explanation, and over here, our result. Not bad. Let's see what we had before. A little bit different. But as you know, in Excel, there are only 1 million ways to do everything. Well, let's hit done and move to the final example, simplify. Now in Excel, if you have a formula that works, it's best not to touch it unless you have to. Unless it's really slow and you want to speed it up like we did with the first example. But sometimes you'd like to make it a lot easier to read and understand. I showed you one way to do that over here with explain, where we have the comment. But for simplify, what we are going to do is to change this to make it a lot easier to read, understand, and update as we go forward. To do that, let's go for a new chat. Simplify the formula in the rating column and make it easier to read. Put the result into the rating easy column. Let's go. Let's see what it gave us. Well, I have to say it did make it easier to read. It is, however, different than when I ran it previously. That is how AI works. It is not always going to give you the same answer. That's also why it drives some people crazy. So let us update this. Describe what you would like to edit. Use the newer let function to make it easier to read and maintain. And let's see what it does. And there we go. Hard to tell if that makes it easier or not. It kind of depends on your skill level. But this is not a let function tutorial. Now, of course, this is not going to be faster than somebody who knows how to do all of this already. But what it can do is to help you out if you don't quite know every single little thing in Excel. So I really do think that this part of the Copilot AI is a rather helpful feature. Well, what'd you think? Let me know in the comments below. AI is improving every day, and some people, they find it very helpful. Some people, they don't find it very helpful. So let me know your thoughts. And if you made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you staying and watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. And if you do, hit the bell icon, give us a thumbs up, a like, a comment, a hype, and share it with anyone who you think might find it helpful. I ask for those things because they help us grow. But that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. See you next time. Cheers.